Liara had always known the rules. From the moment she could remember, the elders of her planet, Elindra, had repeated the same warning. Humans were dangerous, unpredictable, and unworthy of trust. Elindra was a world of advanced technology and disciplined society, where every action had purpose, and every thought was guided by reason. Humans, by contrast, were reckless, messy, and irrational. At least, that was what everyone said. But curiosity is a strange thing. For Liara, it pulsed like a constant hum in her chest. She had seen them from afar, through the observation spheres that dotted the outer regions of her planet. Small, clumsy creatures with pale skin and uneven movements. Humans fascinated her in ways she couldn't explain. They moved differently than Elindrans, untidy, chaotic, but there was a spark in their eyes, a determination she didn't see anywhere else. Her elders noticed her fascination. "Liara," her teacher had said sternly, "you must not venture near them. You must not speak with them. Their nature is corrupting." The words had stung, but curiosity never listens to warnings. One quiet morning, Liara slipped through the silver halls of Elindra's academy, avoiding the patrol drones that hummed quietly as they glided through the corridors. She moved quickly, her lithe frame carrying her silently past closed doors and hallways. Today, she told herself, she would see humans up close. Not from a distance. Not through observation spheres. She wanted to see how they lived. How they survived. The landing site was a small clearing beyond the crystalline forests of Elindra. From there, she could see the human spaceship, sleek and metallic, its surface reflecting the pale light of Elindra's twin suns. Her heart beat faster. Humans were supposed to be dangerous, but she felt no fear, only wonder. As she approached, she noticed a figure moving near the ship. A human, tall, with broad shoulders, was adjusting something on the landing gear. His movements were awkward but precise, a curious mix of strength and clumsiness. Liara crouched behind a rock, watching silently. The human looked up suddenly, as if sensing her presence. Their eyes met for a brief second, and she felt something strange, a connection, fleeting but undeniable. Then he returned to his work, unaware of how closely he had been observed. Liara circled around the ship, marveling at its design. It was simple, not as intricate as Elindran ships, but there was a certain elegance in its efficiency. She could see the humans inside now, moving in small teams, talking to each other with gestures and sounds that seemed chaotic but purposeful. They laughed at small mistakes, corrected each other, and worked together in ways Liara had never seen on Elindra. She was so absorbed that she did not notice the soft sound of someone stepping onto the outer hull of the ship. She turned and froze. Another human had appeared. A woman with dark hair and a focused expression. She moved with confidence, issuing orders in a sharp but gentle voice. Liara realized humans were not only chaotic, they were organized in ways she had not expected. Her curiosity overpowered caution. With a deep breath, she stepped out from behind the rock. The humans froze, eyes widening as they saw her. Liara's appearance was striking, tall, graceful, with silver-blue skin that shimmered faintly under Elindra's light. Her eyes glowed softly, reflecting intelligence and curiosity. The human who had first noticed her stepped forward cautiously. "Who, or what, are you?" he asked. Voice steady despite the surprise. Liara tilted her head. "I am Liara," she said simply. The word sounded strange to her ears, yet it carried the weight of her identity. I mean no harm." There was a pause. Then the man's expression softened slightly. "I am Captain Elias," he said. "We don't mean harm either. Are you alone?" Liara nodded. "I am alone. I came to observe, to understand." Her voice was calm, yet inside she trembled with excitement. She had never spoken to a human before. The reality of it made her heart race. Elias studied her carefully. "Observation is fine," he said. But it's dangerous here. Your kind is not meant to be near ours. Liara smiled faintly. That is what they tell me. But I wanted to see for myself. Something about her words made Elias pause. Humans were often skeptical, cautious, but also curious. He sensed no threat from her. Only interest. Then perhaps, he said slowly, you can learn something from us, and we from you. Liara's eyes widened. This was unexpected. Humans, she had been told, were reckless and untrustworthy. And yet this one, he seemed to invite cooperation, not conflict. Over the next few hours, she moved closer, learning from observing without interfering. The humans repaired minor damages to the ship, organized supplies, and discussed their plans for exploration. Liara noticed their mistakes, their trials, and their solutions. They argued, yes, but always came together to solve problems. When night fell, Elindra's twin moons cast a soft silver glow across the clearing. Liara had crept closer than ever, finding a small vantage point on a ridge above the human camp. She could see Elias sitting near a small fire, speaking quietly with another crew member. There was laughter, warmth, and a sense of community that struck Liara profoundly. She thought of her elders, strict and serious, always emphasizing rules and discipline. She thought of the humans, unpredictable but alive in ways her people rarely were. Curiosity pulsed stronger than ever. Maybe her elders had been wrong. Maybe humans were not dangerous, they were different. And that difference was extraordinary. The following day, Liara made a choice. She would reveal herself. She would speak to humans directly, despite the warnings that echoed in her mind. Her first step was hesitant, but once she approached the camp openly, the humans paused, observing her carefully. You should not be here, Elias said softly. It's dangerous. I know, Liara replied. But I wish to learn. To see your world, your people. Elias studied her, considering the risks. Then, surprisingly, he nodded. Then we will do our best to help you understand. But you must be careful. Not all humans are as considerate as we are. Liara smiled, a mixture of relief and excitement. Over the next few days, she spent time with the humans, learning their ways, their habits, and their small but meaningful customs. She observed how they helped one another, how they adapted to unexpected challenges, and how they treated even the smallest creatures with care. For the first time in her life, Liara felt a sense of belonging, not fully human, not fully Elendran, but part of something larger. She realized that humans, despite their flaws, had something rare: resilience, ingenuity, and heart. Yet not all was calm. From the edges of the clearing, a shadow watched. One of Elendra's scouts had discovered her absence and was reporting back to the elders. Liara knew it was only a matter of time before her people would demand she return. She felt a pang of fear, but it was tempered by excitement. She had made a choice, and she would stand by it. As the sun rose, casting pale light over the human camp, Liara looked around at the people she had chosen to trust. She felt hope, a sense that the future held possibilities she could not yet imagine. Humans were strange, messy, unpredictable, but they were alive, and their courage and creativity were remarkable. And so Liara took her first steps into a world she was told to avoid, a world she now understood could teach her more than her elders ever could. She would not run from curiosity. She would embrace it, and in doing so, she would discover something extraordinary not just about humans, but about herself. Liara had never felt more alive. Her decision to stay with the humans had changed everything. For the first time, she could move freely, explore new ideas, and learn from creatures who seemed so ordinary, yet so extraordinary. Each day brought new discoveries, small lessons, and unexpected challenges. She quickly realized that humans were nothing like her elders had described. They were chaotic, yes, but they were also resourceful, creative, and deeply connected to one another. Her first challenge came with the task of survival. The humans' ship had landed in a rugged valley, far from the safety of civilized worlds. Supplies were limited, and the terrain was harsh, rocky, and uneven. For Elendrans like Liara, such challenges were not unusual. They were trained from birth to navigate dangerous environments with precision and efficiency. Humans, however, approached every obstacle with improvisation. Liara watched as Captain Elias and his crew organized the camp. Some humans were gathering water from a nearby stream, while others checked the ship's equipment. They argued loudly at times, but their disagreements quickly dissolved into cooperation. One crew member tripped over a rock, spilling collected water. Instead of anger, the group laughed, helping him recover and find a solution. Liara found herself smiling. Why do they laugh when something goes wrong? She asked softly to herself. They find strength in mistakes, Elias said, as if he had heard her. Liara blinked. Strength in mistakes? She repeated. Elias nodded. We learn from them. We grow. We survive. That's how humans are. Liara thought about her people always perfect, always controlled. Mistakes were frowned upon, corrected quickly, and rarely forgiven. Yet humans seemed stronger because of their errors. Not despite them. It was an idea both foreign and fascinating to her. As the days passed, Liara began to interact more openly with the humans. She helped with heavy lifting, using her alien strength subtly, and guided them through dangerous parts of the valley. She noticed how humans communicated with gestures, words, and expressions, adapting constantly to each situation. They were unpredictable, yes, but Liara began to see a pattern in their chaos, a rhythm, a logic of its own. One morning, while exploring the edges of the valley, Liara and Elias came across a patch of unusual plants. They glowed faintly under Elendra's twin suns, and their roots seemed to pulse with energy. Humans would normally avoid such plants, unsure of their properties. But Liara was curious. These are lumina vines, she said, touching the plants gently. They respond to energy, to life. Handle them carefully. Elias knelt beside her, observing the glow. We could study them, learn how to use them, he said. Maybe even help our people back on Earth. Liara felt a thrill of excitement. Humans were not only observing, they were thinking, adapting, and imagining possibilities. She began to realize that their greatest strength was their curiosity, their willingness to try, even when the outcome was uncertain. But not everyone in the human crew was as welcoming of Liara's help. Some were cautious, suspicious of her abilities. One day, while they were repairing a section of the ship, a crew member named Jonas spoke sharply. We don't know what she might do. We can't trust her completely. Liara's heart sank slightly. She had hoped that her presence would be seen as helpful, not threatening. Elias, however, intervened. We trust her, he said firmly. She's here because she chose to help. Give her a chance. Liara nodded silently. Trust was something she understood well, and she felt its weight in Elias's words. She resolved to earn their confidence, not through words, but through action. The valley itself was proving to be a test. Nights were cold, and the terrain shifted unpredictably. One evening, a sudden rock slide threatened their camp. Liara acted quickly, using her agility and strength to warn the humans and guide them to safety. She noticed their reactions, panic, fear, but also rapid decision-making. They adapted, improvised tools from fallen branches and stones, and worked together to stabilize the camp. When the danger had passed, Elias approached her. You saved us, he said quietly. But it wasn't just your strength, it was your timing, your judgment. You understood the situation before we did. Liara smiled. Humans are quick to act, she said. You are more capable than your elders believe. Elias's eyes brightened with curiosity. Perhaps we are more alike than we think, he said. That night, as the humans slept, Liara sat atop a ridge, looking at the stars. Her mind was full of questions. Why had her elders feared humans so much? Why had they believed these creatures to be a threat when, in her experience, humans were capable of courage, compassion, and creativity beyond expectation? The next day brought more challenges. A sudden storm swept through the valley, strong winds and sharp rain making movement dangerous. The humans scrambled to protect the ship, secure supplies, and ensure their safety. Liara guided them to safer ground, showing them hidden paths and natural shelters. During the storm, Elias caught her looking out over the valley. "You are learning quickly," he said. "But why do you risk yourself for us?" Liara thought carefully. "Because you are interesting," she said finally. "Because I see things in humans that my people do not understand. You are alive in ways that matter." Elias smiled faintly, as if he understood more than her words could express. "Perhaps we are learning from each other," he said. The bond between Liara and the humans grew stronger. She shared small pieces of her knowledge, the safest routes through the valley, the behavior of native creatures, and subtle ways to conserve energy and resources. In return, humans taught her about resilience, teamwork, and hope. She began to feel a sense of belonging she had never experienced on Alendra. Yet danger was never far away. Scouts from her world had discovered her absence, and her elders were sending messages, warning her to return immediately. Liara received one such message via a small communication device she had smuggled from her ship. "Return immediately, Liara. Humans are not to be trusted. Your safety is at risk. You will face punishment if you disobey." Liara stared at the device, heart pounding. She could feel fear creeping in, but it was tempered by determination. She would not abandon the humans. Not now, when she had seen what they were capable of. Not now, when she had learned how to help them, and how they, in turn, had taught her courage. Her choice was made. She would stay. She would protect them. And she would show her elders that humans were not the threat they believed them to be. The following days were filled with discovery. Liara led the humans to a hidden grove filled with strange flora and fauna. She explained which plants were safe to eat, which could be used for medicine, and how to move quietly without disturbing the creatures. The humans marveled at her knowledge, grateful for her guidance. Elias approached her one evening. "Your people fear what they do not understand," he said, "but perhaps understanding is exactly what is needed. You are teaching us, and we are teaching you. Together, we are stronger." Liara nodded, feeling a warmth in her chest. Strength, cooperation, hope. These were things her people often lacked, and yet humans possessed them in abundance. She realized that her decision to stay was not just about curiosity, it was about discovering what it truly meant to be alive. But the valley held secrets. One morning, while exploring near a stream, Liara spotted unusual footprints. Large, heavy, and unlike any human or native creature. Her heart skipped a beat. She followed the trail cautiously, keeping low among the rocks. The prints led to a clearing where a small pack of predators had made their den. They were aggressive and dangerous, and the humans were unaware of the threat. Liara acted quickly, signaling them to move quietly. She guided them around the clearing, using subtle gestures and her knowledge of the terrain. The humans followed her instructions, moving with a mixture of fear and trust. For the first time, Liara saw Elias hesitate, then adapt. He issued orders confidently, and the crew moved as a single unit. The predators noticed them, snarling and circling. But the humans remained calm under Liara's guidance. They used simple tools and clever tactics to distract the creatures, allowing everyone to escape unharmed. When they reached safety, Elias looked at Liara with awe. "You are extraordinary," he said. "But it's not just you. It's us. Together. That's what matters." Liara realized he was right. Humans were extraordinary not in spite of themselves, but because of themselves. Their courage, creativity, and willingness to act even in the face of danger made them remarkable. And in that moment, Liara understood why she had ignored her elders' warnings. Humans were not to be feared. They were to be understood, respected, and, perhaps, admired. As night fell, the humans gathered around a small fire. Liara sat with them, feeling a sense of unity she had never known. She listened to their stories, shared her own experiences carefully, and watched as trust deepened with every word, every gesture, every small act of kindness. She knew her elders would be angry. She knew there would be consequences when they discovered her defiance. But for the first time, Liara felt confident in her choices. She had seen the strength, courage, and ingenuity of humans. She had seen the spark that her people feared, and she had chosen to embrace it. And so, under the glow of Alindra's twin moons, Liara made a silent vow. She would stay with the humans. She would learn from them, protect them, and, when the time came, show her people that humans were not the threat they had always feared. Liara had chosen curiosity over caution, understanding over fear, and courage over obedience. And in doing so, she had opened a door to a world filled with possibilities she had never imagined. The calm that Liara had grown accustomed to did not last long. One morning, the sky over the valley darkened unnaturally. The twin suns of Alindra were suddenly dimmed by shadows that moved with purpose. Liara climbed a ridge to see the horizon, and her breath caught in her throat. A fleet of alien ships, unlike any she had seen before, was approaching rapidly. They were massive, sleek, and cold, radiating an aura of hostility. Elias noticed her alarm. "What is it?" he asked, following her gaze. Liara shook her head. "They are not from Alindra. They are predators, aggressive, and they do not negotiate." Her voice carried a tremor. Though she tried to keep it calm, the humans scrambled to prepare the ship and gather supplies. Liara knew that their chances were slim. The aliens were fast, heavily armed, and far more experienced in combat than either humans or her people. But what humans lacked in technology, they made up for in ingenuity, adaptability, and courage. "Stay with us," Elias said firmly, taking her hand briefly before letting go. "We can survive this. Together." Liara nodded, her heart racing. For the first time, the humans' unpredictable nature would be tested in a real fight for survival. She knew she had to guide them, but she also had to trust them to think quickly, adapt, and act. The first attack came without warning. Small drones from the alien fleet swooped down, scanning the valley and firing beams that cut through the trees and rocks. Humans shouted, ducking and running. While trying to protect their equipment, Liara moved swiftly, using her agility to intercept dangerous projectiles, guiding humans to cover and safety. Despite the chaos, she noticed something extraordinary. Humans did not panic in the way her people would have. Their fear sharpened their minds rather than paralyzing them. They threw together makeshift shields, used debris to block the drones, and even improvised simple traps to disable the attackers. Elias called out instructions, his voice clear over the din. "Split into teams, cover the equipment, protect the injured." Humans responded instantly, dividing themselves without hesitation. Liara watched in amazement. They were learning from each other, communicating without her interference, and thinking faster than she could anticipate. When the drones were finally repelled, a larger ship descended, a towering vessel bristling with weapons. Liara's heart sank. This was no ordinary raid. It was a full-scale assault. She realized that if they were to survive, humans and she would have to combine their strengths in a way her people would never have allowed. She approached Elias. "We need a plan. They are strong, fast, and ruthless. Alone, you cannot win." Elias nodded. "Then we fight together. Tell me what to do." Liara took a deep breath, trying to organize her thoughts. She could guide them, provide strategic advantages, and use her alien abilities to protect them. But humans would have to act, improvise, and adapt their greatest strength. Over the next hours, they set traps, created diversions, and used the natural terrain to their advantage. Liara showed them how to use the glowing lumina vines from the valley, which emitted bursts of energy when activated. The humans adapted her instructions, creating simple devices to amplify the effect. When the enemy drones approached, they were met with unexpected energy blasts that disrupted their navigation systems. Liara was impressed. The human's ingenuity turned her subtle guidance into something far greater than she had imagined. She realized that their creativity was not random, it was a kind of intelligence that her people lacked, a fluidity of mind that could turn desperation into opportunity. As night fell, the enemy launched a direct attack. The human's ship was targeted, and the crew scrambled to defend it. Liara leaped into action, moving between the humans and the attackers, using her strength to push debris and shield weaker crew members. She marveled at how humans adapted under pressure, improvising weapons, and using the environment to their advantage. One crew member, a young woman named Mara, climbed atop a rocky outcrop with a makeshift catapult, launching heavy stones at the attackers' drones. Jonas, the man who had once doubted Liara, coordinated a small team to block access points and protect the injured. Elias moved with clarity and confidence, issuing orders while remaining calm. Liara realized that humans thrived in chaos. Their creativity, courage, and collaboration allowed them to respond to danger in ways that her people never could. And yet, they were not invincible. Every move required calculation, every decision carried risk, and every mistake could be fatal. During a brief lull, Liara and Elias huddled together behind a boulder. "You are remarkable," Elias said, breathing heavily. "You've guided us, protected us, and yet you let us act. That's not something I've seen before." Liara nodded. "I cannot do everything for you. Humans must use their own strengths. That is why I chose to stay. You are unpredictable, yes, but that unpredictability is also your power." Elias smiled faintly. "I think I understand. You are teaching us, and we are teaching you. Together, we are stronger." Liara felt a swell of pride and hope. She had chosen to trust humans, and that trust was paying off. But the battle was far from over. The alien fleet regrouped, sending larger forces to attack from multiple directions. The humans and Liara were forced to split into teams, each with a specific task: defend the ship, protect supplies, and set traps for the attackers. Liara moved with Elias and a small group to secure the ship. They faced a group of heavily armed alien soldiers, stronger than the drones and much faster than humans. Liara acted quickly, using her speed and agility to disable several attackers, while Elias and his team used clever tactics to outmaneuver the rest. They pushed the aliens back, buying time for other teams to execute their plans. Meanwhile, Mara and Jonas led another group through the forest, using the lumina vines and natural terrain to create distractions. The humans demonstrated resourcefulness beyond Liara's expectations, improvising devices and strategies that worked perfectly despite the odds. She felt a deep sense of admiration for their courage and adaptability. As the night stretched on, exhaustion weighed heavily on everyone. Yet Liara noticed that the humans' determination never faltered. They supported one another, encouraged each other, and continued to act even when fear threatened to paralyze them. Their resilience was extraordinary. At the height of the battle, a massive alien ship descended near the humans' position, preparing for a final strike. Liara realized that only a coordinated effort combining alien technology and human ingenuity could turn the tide. She devised a risky plan. They would lure the ship into a canyon filled with lumina vines, where humans could trigger a massive energy discharge to disable it. Elias hesitated. "It's dangerous. We could fail." Liara placed a hand on his shoulder. "Yes, but together, we can succeed. Trust yourselves. Trust each other. Trust me." The humans nodded, understanding the plan. They moved quickly and efficiently, following Liara's instructions while adding their own creative touches. When the alien ship entered the canyon, Mara triggered the vines, releasing a surge of energy that sent the ship spinning uncontrollably. The aliens scrambled to regain control, but the humans' teamwork and Liara's guidance had turned the situation in their favor. When the battle finally ended, the valley was quiet. The alien fleet had retreated, unable to overcome the unexpected resistance. Humans and Liara had survived. but the experience left them exhausted, battered, and changed. Elias approached Liara, his expression a mix of awe and respect. "You were right," he said. "Humans are stronger than they seem, not because of technology, but because of heart, creativity, and courage. You have taught us something incredible." Liara smiled, feeling a warmth she had never known. "And you have taught me too. That courage and ingenuity can thrive even in chaos. That trust can be more powerful than fear." The humans gathered around, sharing stories of the battle, laughing at near misses, and celebrating their survival. Liara realized that she had become part of their world, not as a guide, not as an observer, but as a member of their team. As she looked at Elias and the crew, she felt a sense of belonging she had never experienced on Alindra. Her decision to stay with humans, to defy her elders, and to embrace curiosity and trust had led her to this moment, but she knew this was only the beginning. The alien fleet would not give up easily, and her elders would not forgive her disobedience. Liara understood that future challenges would be even greater, and that humans and she would have to continue relying on courage, ingenuity, and cooperation to survive. For now, though, Liara allowed herself a moment of peace. She watched the stars over the valley, feeling the glow of Alendra's twin moons and the warmth of human companionship. She had chosen a path of courage, curiosity, and trust, and it had brought her to a place filled with hope, strength, and the possibility of new beginnings. In that moment, Liara realized something profound. Humans were not to be feared. They were to be understood, respected, and, above all, trusted. Their ingenuity, resilience, and heart had proven that they could face dangers far beyond their expectations, and that together, humans and Liara could overcome anything. The night stretched on, quiet and peaceful for the first time in days. Liara sat with the humans, listening to their laughter, sharing her thoughts, and feeling the bonds of friendship deepen. She knew the future would hold new trials, but she also knew that with humans by her side, she could face whatever came. Her elders might never understand. They might never forgive. But Liara had discovered something far more important. A family of humans who had welcomed her, trusted her, and fought alongside her. And in that trust, she had found courage, purpose, and a new kind of hope. And so, under the glow of Alindra's twin moons, Liara vowed to continue learning from humans, protecting them, and standing beside them, no matter what dangers lay ahead. For in humanity, she had discovered a spark that her people had feared, and in embracing it, she had unlocked a world of possibilities she had never imagined. The calm, after the battle, lasted only a few days. The humans had repaired their ship, tended to their injuries, and resumed their routines. But Liara could feel the tension in the air. The alien fleet had retreated, yes, but they would return. And now, her elders had sent a message through her smuggled communicator. Liara was to return immediately, or she would face severe consequences. Liara read the message carefully, her jaw tightening. She had expected this, yet the thought of leaving humans and abandoning what she had built with them felt impossible. She looked at Elias and the crew, who were preparing for the next leg of their exploration. Their eyes met hers with quiet understanding. They trusted her, as she had trusted them. And that trust, she realized, was stronger than any fear. "We cannot wait for them to come back," Elias said quietly. "They will strike again. We must be ready." Liara nodded. She had already devised a plan in her mind, one that combined human ingenuity and her alien abilities. "Then we prepare," she said. Together, over the next few days, they worked tirelessly. Humans built defensive structures using available materials, reinforced the ship's shields, and crafted simple but effective weapons. Liara taught them how to harness the energy of the Lumina vines in ways they had never imagined, guiding them to create devices that could disrupt alien systems without harming the planet. Elias moved among the crew, coordinating efforts with a calm authority that impressed Liara. She realized that human strength was not only in their creativity but in their ability to inspire and lead each other. Even the most hesitant crew members worked with determination, trusting in one another and in the alien girl who had chosen to join them. One evening, as the twin moons rose over the valley, Liara and Elias stood on a ridge, surveying the preparations. "Do you think we can really stop them?" Elias asked, his voice thoughtful. Liara considered the question carefully. "We have to. Alone, perhaps not. But together, we can be stronger than they expect. Humans have courage, ingenuity, and the will to survive. That is something even my elders do not fully understand." Elias nodded. "Then let's make sure they remember it." The attack came at dawn. The alien fleet descended with precision, their ships dark and menacing against the pale light. This time, they were larger and more coordinated, determined to crush the humans and reclaim Liara. Liara and the humans moved swiftly. The defensive structures worked as intended, slowing the enemy advance and providing cover for human forces. Liara used her alien speed and strength to move between groups, protecting injured crew members and coordinating counterattacks. The humans' ingenuity was on full display. They used the Luminavine devices in clever ways, combining them with natural terrain and improvised tools to disrupt alien targeting systems. One team, led by Mara, managed to disable several smaller ships by collapsing parts of a rocky ridge onto them, turning the environment itself into a weapon. Liara was amazed at their creativity. Where her people would rely solely on technology, humans used everything around them: rocks, plants, debris, even shadows to their advantage. They adapted, improvised, and worked together seamlessly, each person contributing in unique ways. At one critical moment, a large alien vessel targeted the human's ship directly. Liara realized that conventional defense would not be enough. She devised a risky plan. The humans would draw the ship into a narrow canyon, where she would amplify the Luminavine's energy to disable it temporarily, giving the humans a chance to strike. Elias listened carefully as Liara explained the strategy. Liara met his gaze. "We are stronger together. We trust each other. That is our advantage. Take the risk with me." The humans nodded, determination in their eyes. They moved quickly, guiding the alien vessel into the canyon as planned. Liara focused, channeling the energy of the Luminavines through the devices the humans had constructed. A surge of light and power erupted, disorienting the alien ship and temporarily shutting down its weapons. Seizing the opportunity, the humans launched a coordinated attack. They used simple but effective weapons, clever traps, and strategic maneuvers to disable the alien ship's engines. Liara assisted, using her agility to intercept dangerous attacks and protect key crew members. The teamwork was flawless, a combination of human courage and creativity, guided by Liara's knowledge. When the alien ship finally collapsed, the remaining fleet hesitated, unsure how to respond. The humans and Liara pressed their advantage, pushing back with confidence and precision. It was a stunning victory, one that relied not on sheer firepower, but on strategy, adaptability, and trust. As the dust settled, Elias approached Liara. "We did it," he said, his voice filled with relief and pride. "We actually did it." Liara smiled, though exhaustion weighed heavily on her. "We did it together," she said. "Your courage, your creativity, it made all the difference." The humans gathered around, celebrating quietly. There was laughter, relief, and a sense of unity that Liara had never experienced before. For the first time, she felt that she truly belonged not to Alindra, not to her people, but here, among humans who had welcomed her, trusted her, and fought alongside her. Later, Liara received another message from her elders. The tone was severe, threatening, and demanding. She read it carefully, her heart pounding. They had witnessed her defiance and the humans' victory. They expected her to return immediately. Liara considered her options: return and face punishment, abandoning the humans she had come to respect and care for, or stay and continue to fight for what she believed in. She looked at Elias, who stood quietly nearby, and at the crew, who were recovering and tending to one another. Their eyes met hers with trust, understanding, and a silent question. "What will you choose?" Liara took a deep breath. "I will stay," she said aloud, her voice firm. "I will not abandon them. Humans are not the threat my people believe. They are strong, brave, and capable of incredible things." Elias smiled, a mixture of pride and relief in his expression. "Then we stand together," he said. Word of the humans' victory spread quickly. Liara's elders were forced to acknowledge that their warnings about humans had been exaggerated. They saw the humans' ingenuity, courage, and moral strength firsthand. Slowly, their attitudes began to shift. Humans were no longer the unpredictable threat, they were potential allies, capable of great deeds and worthy of respect. Liara's choice had changed everything. By trusting humans, by working alongside them, she had opened a door to a new understanding between species. Her elders began to see that courage, creativity, and moral strength could exist outside Alindra, and that sometimes unpredictability was not a weakness, but a unique form of power. In the days that followed, humans and Liara continued to explore the valley together. They repaired the ship fully, mapped new territories, and documented discoveries that would benefit both species. Liara taught them subtle techniques, ways to interact with alien life forms, and methods to conserve energy and resources. Humans, in turn, taught her about resilience, hope, and the power of cooperation under pressure. One evening, as the twin moons rose over the valley, Elias and Liara sat atop a ridge, looking at the stars. "You know," Elias said quietly, "I never imagined that humans could achieve this. But seeing it firsthand, working with you, it changes everything. I understand why you stayed." Liara nodded, feeling warmth in her chest. "And I understand why humans survive, thrive, and inspire. Your creativity, courage, and trust, they are extraordinary. I will not forget what I have learned." The humans joined them on the ridge, sharing stories, laughter, and quiet moments of reflection. Liara realized that she had become part of their world, not as a visitor, not as an observer, but as a valued member of their team. She felt pride, belonging, and a sense of purpose stronger than anything she had known on Alindra. When the day came to move on from the valley, the humans prepared their ship for departure. Liara looked back at the place where they had faced danger, uncertainty, and discovery. It had been a testing ground, a place where humans had shown their true strength, and where she had found courage and belonging. As the ship lifted into the sky, Liara felt a mixture of excitement and determination. Ahead lay new worlds, new challenges, and new opportunities to learn from humans and to teach them in return. The bond between species had been forged in adversity, strengthened by trust, and cemented by shared triumph. Liara thought of her elders and the warnings they had given her. They had feared humans, underestimated them, and failed to see their potential. She knew that change would be slow, that prejudice would not disappear overnight. But she also knew that one choice, her choice, had begun to shift the balance. And so, Liara looked out at the endless sky, her silver-blue skin glowing softly under Alindra's twin suns. She had defied expectations, embraced curiosity, and trusted in humanity. And in doing so, she had discovered courage, friendship, and a future full of possibilities. The humans laughed and joked beside her, their voices warm and alive in the cool air. Liara smiled, feeling the bond between them, unbreakable and true. She had chosen to stay. She had chosen to trust. And together, they had proven that courage, ingenuity, and moral strength could overcome any obstacle. In that moment, Liara understood something profound. Humans were not to be feared, controlled, or dismissed. They were to be respected, understood, and, most importantly, trusted. Their unpredictability was their power, their courage, their strength, and their heart, the force that could change the universe. And as the ship sailed into the horizon, carrying humans and Liara toward new adventures, she knew one thing for certain. This was only the beginning. Together, they would face challenges, explore unknown worlds, and inspire one another in ways neither species could have imagined. Liara had chosen curiosity over caution,